Hello again, my friends. Welcome back to Aliens, The Dark Descent. We departed Pioneer Station after a climactic battle. As was the tradition with the other maps, I feel like before I continue to the next set of maps, I'd like to talk about how well made and how unwell made these maps were.
Have a nice day, Deputy Administrator Hayes.
Corrigan, listen, these nukes. They're about to...
Save your breath, Sarge. I heard.
Then I need you to be honest with me. You reckon the Otago could take off?
Sergeant, you know her. She was made to last. With a bit of care and the right materials, I can assure you that this beauty will fly again. But surviving these missiles? Space? That's a whole different ballgame.
Can't just stay in low orbit like Pioneer Station?
You really want to bet low orbit will remain safe once Phase 2 hits?
Hayes is right, Sergeant. If we want to escape this rock, our only option is a better shield and enough cryotubes for everyone.
All right. So what do you need, specifically?
A damn miracle. But specifically, a massive source of energy for the shield. That only solves one of our problems, though. Our cryo-sleep control panel was damaged during the crash, and we lost the gas mixing chip. Without it, hypersleep will be unstable. At best.
You let me worry about that. First things first, the shield. Let's have a word with that director of yours, Hayes. In the meantime, Corrigan, take care of the ship. But do it fast.
You got it, Sarge.
Thanks.
Need a gun, Administrator?
So we've got most of the weapons. We have an absolutely silly amount of money.
Bye-bye now.
Ma'am. No washouts here. Trust me.
We have a lot of people in the training room. And as you can see, the training is definitely worth it, because most of these guys have never seen any combat, any deployment at all. That's why all their stress is basically nothing. And they're not quite the same level as the main team. The main team is definitely better
Looking for someone in particular?
in level, as far as levels concerned. They're higher, much higher. They are 9, 9, 7. So bringing them on the missions definitely increases their experience faster, especially if you're doing defensive style waves and killing a lot of stuff. But I feel like the training is worth it, because all of these were basically level 1s. And at level 1, they essentially get slaughtered. They just have less health, they have less durability, they're less useful.
You can count on them, ma'am.
Welcome, Administrator Hayes. A fine study, if I may say so myself.
Lots of Xeno samples.
Stay safe out there.
Building better worlds, huh? Time to live up to your tagline, Director Price. Is there something on Lethe we could use to boost our shields?
Our chief engineer believes an external power source could do the trick. Pharaoh Spire might well have...
Forget Pharos. There's no power source like that here. I have a better idea. But first, I need some guarantees. Would my employees and I be allowed aboard the Otago? Will we be safe on your ship?
Do you really think we have time for a deal?
A deal is the very thing that separates us from these creatures, Sergeant. The one I'm offering is simple. I need to get aboard the Otago. In exchange, I will recover your daughter.
Cassandra. Is she alive?
As director of the Wayland-Yutani operations on Lethe, I have full access to the personal data transmitters surgically implanted in the colonist. Therefore, I can confirm that your daughter is indeed very much alive.
Where is she?
One of my associates, Theo Stern, is tracking her PDT as we speak. The clock is ticking, Sergeant. I need your word.
You have it, Director. Please, tell us where we can find enough energy for the shield.
What you're looking for can be found in an atmospheric processor. The same technology that allows humans to breathe on this rock. One of them, Sigma 12, is still running on standby thanks to its power core. You see, Sergeant? We did build better worlds.
All right. Send a squad there. I'll guide you.
So that's pretty cool. Going on another rescue mission. You know what I think? I think it's time I drink some beer. And then smoke some weed.
Have a nice day, Deputy Administrator Hayes.
No washouts here. Trust me. All right, let's give this one a break. All right, let's give this one a break. You can count on them, man.
Now, the reason you take them off intensive training before you go to the next day is because
Have a nice day,
instead of
Deputy
being
Administrator Hayes.
exhausted, which only
This
lasts
one
a
won't
day,
let you down.
oh, 2 days. So instead of being exhausted for so long, you spend one of those days is technically this one.
Bye, man. Troops, Eddie.
New objectives are awaiting your review.
Now, the way I see this is I have a limited number of days left to finish the campaign due to the Doom timer. Now, for the sake of the game devs, I'm going to play the game with the Doom timer, and I'm even going to see what happens once the Doom timer is finished and we get to see the nuclear explosions everywhere, in case there's a cinematic or something. Then we're going to reload to 1 day before the Doom timer, and we're going to put the mod on that turns off the Doom timer. This is going to be what determines whether or not I can beat this game before the Doom timer kills me. But even if it does, I'm still going to be able to finish the game. Special shout out to the mod team from the modder known as R457. He's the one that created, or she, whoever it is. I don't actually know a whole lot about them, but it's pretty cool. So special shout out to Nexus Mods and R457 for creating the mod that turns off the Doom timer. For those of you who like to play campaigns, more the StarCraft 2 style, more the Command and Conquer style, with no Doom timer that forces you to restart your entire campaign. For those of you that don't like Doom timers, if you were someone in Barotrauma that turned off Doom timers, if you were someone in Civilizations 5 that turned off the turn limit, it's a variable that's nice to have for people that like roguelike games and like to do runs over and over again. To do the same campaign levels over and over again. But I personally don't, so that's why we will leave the Doom timer on until the last possible second. So since this is lose deployment, we're just going to go with lose deployment. Now the number of available Marines is 1, which means we can't launch a mission. But what we can
Have a
do
nice
is
day,
medical stuff.
Deputy Administrator Hayes.
I probably forgot to do this last day.
This one's a priority. Understood.
Oops. I do wish that you didn't have to press and hold this button.
This one's a priority. Understood. This one's a priority. Understood.
Okay.
Stay safe, okay? Have a nice day, Deputy Administrator Hayes.
Mensana
PTSD
incorporates Sano,
ward.
am I right? Understood. I'll update my schedule. See you
I do
around.
like this
Hello,
PTSD ward.
Administrator Hayes. Have a nice day, Deputy Administrator Hayes.
For those
Stay
of
safe,
you,
okay?
I know that it sounds like I'm ranting again, but for those of you who played Dawn of War 2, you know what I'm talking about when I say that this is reminding me of Chaos Points. For those of you who didn't play Dawn of War 2, Dawn of War 2 had this system where it didn't exist for the first game's campaign, but during the expansion, known as Chaos Rising, there was this game mechanic where taking your heroes, which in this game here is soldiers, very similar to Dawn of War 2, and also similar to Dawn of War 2, your maximum squad size was 4. So you could only take certain numbers of your heroes with you. Now, when you could get a base available and when you could make units, it was different. You could have as many units as you wanted. And when you were fighting the Chaos God's demon known as Ulker, known as a unclean one, drop pods came and deployed all of your remaining heroes so that you would be able to fight not just with your 4 squad member characters, but actually I think it gave you all 6. The 7th one, depending on what missions and quests you chose, was the one that got killed. So basically what happened was, as the campaign progressed in the first iteration of Dawn of War, it was fairly linear. You did whatever you wanted, you killed everything, you threw lots of grenades, collected lots of loot, and then finally you did the Tyranid boss level, the last Tyranid level, and that was the end of the campaign. But during the expansion, your characters got this bar, which was basically their level of corruption, and it was represented by a segmented red bar that was above your character's experience. The more missions you didn't take your hero units on, the more corrupt they became, until finally the corruption meter reached the top. And once it reached the top, that hero would disappear, and you would get a mission to kill that hero. It became the hero that got killed. So for example, if you didn't take Jonah's Orion, the librarian, enough times, or if you didn't take Cyrus, the sniper, enough times, if you didn't take them on enough missions, they would get corrupted, and eventually they would turn against you, and you were forced to kill them. I'm reminded of that campaign mechanic when I think about this PTSD ward, where instead of taking these units out to do battles, to do special battles to lower their corruption, to kill more demons to lower their corruption, you're putting them in a psych ward. It's obviously it's different in that way, but artistically I'm reminded of it because this bar looks exactly the same. You know, I was thinking about what this bar reminded me of when it's like fully red, and I was trying to think of what it reminded me of, and it definitely reminds me of
See you around.
Dawn of War 2.
Administrator Hayes.
And I'm probably going to do a series on Dawn of War 2, just because a lot of people of this newest generation, they don't know what it is, so it's hard to use games to compare other games, newer games, when nobody knows what you're talking about.
New objectives are awaiting your review.
See, I don't really need medical care, but I might. Available Marines 8. So maybe I gave myself too many. Maybe I should have left some in extensive training.
Have a nice day.
But let's look at their
Deputy
XP.
Administrator Hayes.
When you go to the
No
training ground.
washouts here. Trust me.
Man, this training is epic.
You can count.
Oh boy. Alright. So, this
Operations
is the
ready in
perfect
following
map
areas.
to talk about all this stuff. We did 2 maps, actually. We did the refinery and we did Pioneer Station. I'm going to talk about the refinery first.
Understood. Loading mission data.
Over the course of the game, I've rated each of these maps the way that I've personally decided to analyze and talk about. And since I already did, pretty sure I already talked about Berkeley
Understood.
stocks,
Uploading mission data.
how I felt about these maps. I don't actually remember. But to do a quick summary, I found this one was actually one of my favorites yet. It was even maybe a little bit cooler than Dead Hills. Some people might disagree with that. I totally understand. The containers really reminded me of the urban environments of other games. And so I'm really brought back to Command and Conquer, for example, when you have to use the commando at the docks in Tiberium Wars 3. So I really liked this map. I liked the cultists. I thought the cultists were cool. They reminded me of a lot of other stuff that I found really funny. And the fact that they worshipped the aliens. And I thought that was pretty funny. This map's kind of weird because it's segmented into 3 large areas. There's this building here, which in of itself is a nightmare. And it's bugged. I'm fairly certain it's bugged because this particular door, you can't open it because in order to hack it, you would have to be inside. And so this door is actually facing the wrong way. That's my personal professional opinion. I think that this door was supposed to be over here. I think what they did was they did a 180-degree turn of the wrong type of door, because when you look at other doors that were hacked in this floor, you could open them because you could use the hacking mechanism sometimes on both sides, but most of the time it was just on one. I just happened to not come in here by pure fluke, but I'm sure that I missed things on this floor. This floor was pretty scary too. So as far as this floor is concerned, I liked this area. I didn't like this area very much. I found the camera was swiveling a lot, and I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like the fact that you couldn't get in this room. Now, I don't know if we're supposed to come back later, or if maybe we're supposed to be able to remote hack. I don't recall if there is a remote hack, but if there is, it would be pretty cool to be able to hack it through the door, because otherwise this room's bugged. If you're supposed to be able to hit this panel out here and open this door, then if that's the way the devs intended, then this is a bug, because the panel is on the inside of the room, and this panel doesn't seem to open for anything. It's connected, this building is connected to this floor, because you end up doing this floor before you end up doing that other third section of that other map. And even this door, even this floor, excuse me, has the hacking panel on both sides. This is because you can go around and come in through like this and hit the panel to get out. And this door's panel is on the inside, just like the other doors that were around that were locked from the inside. You can just hack the panel. This is just a door I welded. Now, this map was a little confusing. The tunnel areas were pretty scary, and it seems weird that there are these doors that you can't open. Like, for example, there's supposedly loot in there, but I never figured out how to get in there. Now, I think that was a door I might have been able to blow up, but I couldn't blow up before, so that might be a patch fix that I just don't recall. So there's a few rooms where I forgot loot. I didn't spend very long in this place because there was too much. This room was crazy. This room was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed this part of the room. And even the exit, just going out to this elevator the long way. Like, I was paranoid that something was going to charge through these doors, and so I planted mines everywhere, man. Like, look, if you look at the preparation I went through for this place, the number of mines that are still there, like, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Oh, what is that? Did I get that? Anyway, so the second floor, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. There was some issue, in my opinion, with the xenomorph patrols. Again, they only have, like, in this area of the map, is very difficult to safely get to this one. It's almost impossible to get the loot in this room. It's basically pointless. Except you kind of have to. I had higher success going this way at times. Later, when I was hanging around. But because, again, it feels like there's only like ever 3 directions they can go, the xenomorphs are really hard to avoid. For example, this hallway is just death and isn't even passable. And this hallway is kind of damaged too, right? So you never use it again once you go through it. You never go back, because once it gets damaged here, you can't go back. You can't get anything there. So that only leaves this hallway. And this hallway gets patrolled a lot. And so does this hallway from the 2 spawns. And so does this hallway. And there's almost always ones in the vents along here. So I found this map kind of hard to navigate. Even once you clear the full floor, and even once you've mined the entire floor everywhere, just spammed mines to death and just cover the entire surface area of the planet in mines, it's still kind of hard to get out of this room alive. It took me a couple tries. I wiped a few times in there, I wiped a few times in there, wiped a lot of times in here. This room was scary all by itself each time. And yeah, so other than a little bit of issue with some of the loot in this room that didn't seem to want to spawn properly, like it shows up on the map, but you can't click it in the game. And all I had to do was reload the game to get that to go away. If you ever come across that, where you come into the game and you see loot on the map, but you can't left click it or anything, you can just save, close, exit, reopen, and usually that loot will show up. It's the only loot that had that problem, was this loot here. I don't know if that's a clue to the devs. Oh, missed something in here. Yeah, missed a lot of stuff on this level. Very hectic, very scary. I know that they're trying to make it fast because the xenomorphs are fast, and yet I feel like somehow the speed of those xenomorphs, I know that they're trying to make it a fast xenomorph because that's tradition, but remember, in the 3rd movie, as far as lore is concerned, apparently prisoners can outrun it, people in bare feet. So they don't have to make it as fast as a photon torpedo, you know? And I feel like they've set it to photon torpedo when maybe they should have set it to skimmer. Dawn of War 2 Dark Eldar skimmer, you know, really fast, but maybe not like speed of light fast. Because I felt like some of those xenomorphs were running from here to here in about a second. When I was zoomed out in the map and I was looking at the map, and I would see them just go 1,000 You know, like, that's ridiculous. That's almost too fast. Whereas the other xenomorphs, you know, they'd be more like this, right? Even when they're aware of you. So, I don't know. This map, I didn't like this map as much. I got used to it, but I didn't enjoy it the same way I enjoyed this map. This map was just plain fun. It wasn't very hard, because I feel like there was, and again, this might be a clue to the devs, this was a weird map as far as the AI was concerned. And it might take me a while to explain, but I feel like I should explain it. So the beginning of the map is great, when it's just cultists. That whole revealing the cultist shit, that was really well done. Then you get over to this area, where the patrols are really high. And none of them have guns, so it's kind of weird. So you're like mowing them down, which is a little hard on the ammo, and it forces you to go back to town over and over again, to use a Diablo 3 reference. Forces you to go back to town. You got to go to the blacksmith, you know. You got to go to the blacksmith. You got to get your ammo. And so I found that this room here for resting was very useful, because I ended up using it multiple times, and this room was very nice too. So the rooms were really nice. For the resting rooms were really awesome. They always had a lot of loot. They were always fairly safe. Even with the xenomorph spawn right next to this one, I never saw xenomorphs coming from that way. So then you move over to this building, and it's kind of hectic and it's kind of glitchy. Then you get to the second floor, and I've already discussed the second floor. Getting out of this building was hell too. Whenever you had to fight a big mob, because there's only one way out. I really feel like they should have opened this stuff up so that you could use a back route out. It wouldn't even have to necessarily be a back route in if they had like a one-way hack door or something, like a one-way hack fence. A fence that's openable, because as it is now, having like this much of the map set to being unplayable, like, that's a fairly significant chunk. So when you look at this map, like, it would have almost been better to just have it dark, because if it was dark, it would look more like just, you know, and almost all this up here, right? How it's dark. They should have just done that over here, as far as I'm concerned. Because it intimidates you. It makes the map look even bigger than it really is. And I wasn't a fan of that. I wasn't a fan of all this wasted space. This looks like, you know, as an editor, as a game editor, this to me looks like a parking lot for assets, where it's like, oh, let's look at all our doodads. And I can't blame them, because I do that too. When I'm map editing in StarCraft 2, I literally do this exact thing, where it's like, oh, you want to look at the doodads, and you want to, like, see which ones you like, which ones you don't like, and find out the names of the assets that you like, because, you know, the asset names don't make any sense. So you're like planting shit randomly, and then you plant shit all over the ground, and then you're like, oh, I like that, let's copy paste that a bunch of times, and then bam, what do you end up with? You end up with this shit. And this here is them being like, oh, let's take each asset and let's like rotate it finely, and let's like, well, let's align it to the grid. So you notice how there's a grid, right? You can see it in the way that things are orientated, but then there are other things that don't follow the grid, and that's what tricks your eyes. So things like the boxes, right? How they like stick out, how there's like this little gap here where it looks closer here than it is there. But as far as the paving is concerned, it's still a box. This is sloppy. I was not impressed with this. I was fairly depressed actually by this. I feel like this very easily could have just been spread out into like a destroyed wall, which was then like some xenomorph spawns and more content. Like, this chunk of the map was unused, and I wasn't too happy about that. It was cool to look at, but at the same time, once I figured out what it was, a copy paste of all their assets, it made me kind of sad. So as far as this portion of the map's concerned, bleh. As far as like this portion of the map's concerned, meh. As far as this portion of the map's concerned, the fact that there's giant slamming noises coming out of it, mwah, infinitely better than this. This area, bleh. This one small spot right here actually jump scared me. I heard the slamming in the containers, and I was so busy, you know, like smoking weed, that I wasn't really paying attention, and it jump scared the shit out of me because it was just slamming. There's this fucking slam in here. This map area is scarier than balls. I don't know what was going on with all this. I was really hoping that this would end up being something more. I was kind of sad by that, to be honest. But when you look at this portion of the map, it kind of makes sense because it's the part that's overhead. Because that elevator is represented here. So it superimposes this portion of the map here in that shape. So I understand why they did it, but at the same time, they could have just made up for that by opening this. You look at the amount of content that is in here in this region, it's basically equal to this portion of the map, which leads to the final portion of the map. And my personal favorite is this portion. This was a slugfest. The sleepers, in the episode that I titled Sleepers, I think, this was insane. How hard it was to deal with just like 5 xenomorphs. It was like, to kill 5 fucking xenomorphs was like 3 deployments. And then 1 deployment to kill this queen. And this battle with this queen was a cheese battle, right? So again, I cheesed the queen. This is the second time I cheesed the queen. She wasn't very difficult. She just walked over onto the mines and exploded and died. I didn't even go over there for the loot. I didn't even care. Finally, we get to this section up here, which is like the rescue section, where finally we get to leave. And didn't spend very long there. Although the amount of time we did spend there was a lot of killing. I think it would have been cool to have been able to transfer over there and then maybe loot some of this, you know. I'm always a fan of open maps. I'm not a fan of locking chunks of maps off. I know that they have to do it for development reasons, but anyway, as far as this portion of the map's concerned, mwah, beautiful. Terrifying. Right in here was a really scary room. Right in here was also a pretty scary room, and this room was hell. This room killed me accidentally, like at least once or twice, I think. I may not have recorded that because I think that may have been one of the ones that crashed. Sorry about that. Not all of my videos that I make it to the internet. But basically I came in here and I like prepared for the worst, and there was like 1 facehugger left, and I triggered it, and then I ended up getting a Praetorian that stunned me while a giant wave of dog xenomorphs just basically ran the short distance from here to there to kill me. All my turrets were destroyed, and I wiped. It was a complete disaster. And so that's what this ended up turning into, was a kind of retreat where I would attempt to cheese the queen in the doorway and run away as fast as I could so that I could come back in the next deployment and do the second objective that's in here without the queen being in the way. A cheesy way of dealing with this room, but this room visually was so scary, like so well done, just absolutely perfect, absolutely respectful in every way to the Aliens franchise and the Aliens lore and the Aliens art, the art style. This room was probably one of my favorite rooms that I've seen yet. I like this room even more than the Queen rooms.
Understood. Uploading mission data.
This place was a scary place. I wasn't a fan of how little of the place we could use. I have a feeling that we might be going back because these doors are locked, but maybe we're not. I don't know. This room was pretty cool. I enjoyed this room. The whole mouse thing with the mouse that was hiding under the stuff, and then the mouse like trips your motion detector. Such an homage to the first Alien movie. Very epic, very cool. Very scary, a very scary level. Kind of neat that there's elevators. And that there's elevators that don't work, and there's elevators that only go so far. So for example, this elevator doesn't go to the command level. It only goes to the headquarters. Now on this map, I still have 2 objectives to do. Which I am going to go for in this next video, in this next go, eventually. This is where I'm headed to. It's going to be kind of scary, but I'm going to go for this elevator, and I'm going to try to reach this. I don't care about loot, because I have essentially unlimited money, so I'm not going to bother going for the loot. Just going for the tools and the objective. And maybe that turret. Maybe not. I know that these are only bonus objectives. In the mechanical room. I think that's this crate up here, isn't it? By this door. Anyway. As far as this floor is concerned, I have not fully explored it, so I can't exactly say. Maybe I have it. Maybe I have fully explored it. It's cool coming back to this room. This battle was hard, and I liked it. This battle was really fun and really enjoyable. Took me a few tries, but I had a good time doing it. Like, it felt truly epic. You couldn't cheese the queen using the gate, using the door. You couldn't do it because the story mode doesn't let you. And that made me kind of sad, because I feel like if it had been an option, I would have totally done it, because there was just so much stuff. And in this room, the flamethrower makes such a big difference, blocking things and killing things. And the missiles, man, if you can hit them on that queen, mwah, you know, like, kind of hard, you miss a lot, but this room, hell on earth. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. This part, I wasn't as big a fan of, where I end up getting trolled from the spawn point over the edge, where they just sort of appeared from that edge and killed me in this little room here twice. That was kind of lame. I didn't enjoy that too much. It was funny, I guess, in its own way. But it's weird. It's a weird tasting spawn point, because your objective is like right there, so you don't have a whole lot of choice. And even when I knew they were coming, the 4 turrets, they still got 1 slap. So even if you point 4 turrets there right at that spot as you're doing your primary objective, after this epic queen boss fight, if you even have turrets with you, even with 4 turrets pointing straight at the spawn point, they still managed to slap one of my guys into oblivion on a few occasions. So this room, really cool. This room kind of needs work. I feel like this spawn number is too high. It's disproportionate to what I thought would be coming from this way, which is like the nest. So it's kind of weird that the spawn point for this room is over there. I feel like it should have been right there, because it would have been just as bad. I don't know. Maybe they had their own reasons for choosing that. I feel like this floor could have had more spawn points, as awful as that sounds. Because the whole, let's face it, this whole entire map looked like a spawn point. It just is. I found this map was really hard. I didn't enjoy it that much because it was very claustrophobic and maze-like. This area was cool. I actually really liked this area. This area of the map was really cool, and I really enjoyed this portion of the map over here. This portion. Those were my two favorite portions. This room was kind of weird, but I kind of get it. And this room was kind of weird. Yeah, these maps were odd. Coming back to the space station. I guess they were kind of forced to do them in certain ways, but not a whole lot to be done about it, I guess. We're going with the traditional classic team. Yeah. I'm okay with this. Surprisingly, out of our 26 medkits, we are now down to 10 medkits. That's how bad this space station has been. Now, because we have a shit ton of money and because we have no tools, we're gonna increase the number of tools, even though it costs 10 supply. That's because we have a lot of materials per day. We have a lot of Xeno samples. So we're going to try this new one. I feel like we're seeing more facehuggers, so this becomes more necessary. Let's do this. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. Oh boy. Now that cinematic is sick. That just showing that space station like that. It really reminds me of the first Alien movie. Very respectful to that homage. Alright, I'm crazy coming back here. We're going straight to this elevator.
Move on! Hurry up, you slugs!
Oh, that's a drinking game. I'm so afraid. Come on, boys.
Don't get too comfy. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. We need everybody to catch up.
Copy.
Fuck. Where were we going? Here, I think, right? I was kind of hoping there would be more floors to this place, too. God, that noise.
Come on, team! Hurry up, squad!
Oh boy. We don't know where Cooper is. Do we know where Cooper is? Oh shit. I'm getting lost already.
Right now. Disgusting. Deploying motion tracker. Setting up motion tracker.
I think we're spotted!
Motion tracker deployed.
Is it moving? I don't think it is.
More signatures spotted. Move on!
Don't get too comfy,
Dang it.
okay?
That one is moving.
Move! Move! They're heading
We'll just
our
go
way.
a long way around. Oh man. Oh boy.
They're heading our way.
Oh boy. There's so many.
More signals incoming.
Shit. Was he in
More
one of these
signals
rooms?
incoming. Come on, team.
God, it would almost be worth it, wouldn't it?
Weld that door.
You shall not pass, fuckers! Door secure.
Yeah, fuck it.
You can't get in, right? But what now? Deploying
Find one of
motion
these.
tracker. Setting up motion tracker. Motion tracker activated.
Now, I don't necessarily want to draw them to this elevator. But I have a lot of extras.
They're heading our way.
No, they're not. I think a lot of them have resourceful, so we should end up with a few extra clips, I think. Worth it for that reason alone.
Nap's over. Move your asses.
Yeah, one extra. Okay. And they're all gone.
Cut that door open. Come on, team.
Where is it? Where do we have a lot of mines? Basically nowhere.
Something around.
Door clear.
Move! Move! More signals incoming!
Shh. Here's one.
Goddamn.
On it. Let's see what's inside.
I don't think that's all the material. Maybe they've tried to vent some? There aren't many places you can do that. Let me mark them for you.
Are you kidding me? Way the fuck over there? Probably easier to do it up top floor. Oh shit. Is there a question mark somewhere for his body? Oh shit. And now I feel as though I'm surrounded.
Move on!
this one in the vent.
Double time!
Sure are a lot of them there.
Deploying motion tracker. Setting up motion tracker.
Okay, that's interesting.
Motion tracker activated.
I didn't know this bridge would do that. That's a problem. That's a fairly significant problem.
Shit, it's coming to us.
Well, that's not good.
They're heading our way. Move on.
We have no
I
choice.
have multiple signals. Double time! Hurry up, you slugs!
Man, we are chasing behind these xenomorphs.
They're heading our way.
Where was he? Is he in there? Man, that's gonna be a scary spot to try and get to.
More signals incoming.
On it.
Goddamn.
Move on. Hurry up, you slugs!
Yeah, I thought it was down. Come on, bros, you gotta go faster. We're in so much shit. I guess we do need to come back here.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Sure is a lot of piles of stuff.
Cut that door open.
Breaking the weld. Door cleared.
Move on.
What? What?
Hurry up.
Oh. You know what?
Squad,
I think this is bugged, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to leave. I tried. It seems it seems I can't get to the objectives once I leave. I know this kind of thing seems risky, but I'm kind of curious to see if maybe I can make just a blind run for it.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Ah, shush. You guys are plenty loud enough. Oh, that's another drinking game. If it's ever too quiet, we gotta drink.
there's something around.
Drone
Shit.
spotted.
I
Shit,
have
shit, shit,
multiple
shit, shit,
signals.
shit, shit.
Come on, team.
Well, that
Hurry
answers
up,
your
squad.
question.
Quiet. It didn't see us.
Get out of here, boys. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get. Oh boy. So many xenomorphs. This is hell. This is hell on Earth. I couldn't... Yeah, whatever. I couldn't... It didn't seem like I
It's
could
quiet.
get to the
Too
objective.
quiet.
The bridge was down, and I couldn't reach the other crate. So that's 90. I guess that could be as much as 90 supplies that I miss out on. So that's like, what? A single day? A single day and a bit. 2 days. It's basically 2 days worth of supplies. It's not worth. Yeah, so we couldn't get the bonus objectives. I didn't feel like going for it. Meh. Lol. 100%.
Hello, Administrator Hayes.
100%.